Hi guys, welcome to Chris Ryan Golf. You've joined me in the TaylorMade suite today at the Belfry. We're going to do a video looking at how to load a trail leg. We're going to go through a couple of things that maybe get misunderstood by golfers, maybe clear a few of those things up and then explain what you need to do in order to load that trail leg, which is going to give you some, hopefully, better shots and more distance. So before we talk about what we're actually going to do, we need to discuss a couple of different sort of terms in the golf swing and explain exactly what they mean. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the difference between a weight shift and a pressure shift. So a weight shift would be where I move my mass in the golf swing. So for example, if I was just standing on two, let's say bathroom scales here, we're going to use easy numbers. Let's say I weighed 10 stone. So as I stood on those scales, if I started perfectly balanced, each of those scales would read 5 stone each. Now, if I move my mass over to this side, the scale on my left would increase towards 10 stone until I lifted my back foot off, and that would now read 10 stone. So what I've done there is I've moved my mass, which has moved my weight. Now, pressure is different. Pressure is the forces that we are exerting on the ground through our feet, because they're the only thing that's going to touch the ground. So if I was to stand in this position here, okay, and if I was to try and jump to my left, I would push down with my right foot to move me left. So what we would see there on a sort of force plate, we would see an increase of pressure through that right side. That doesn't mean I've moved my mass to the right. That just means to move myself left, I've actually pushed into the ground. That's increased the pressure. So those are really, really important that we understand those in the golf swing. Now, in the golf swing, when we make a backswing, what we would like to see is the centre of pressure, so that's kind of the middle, if you like. We'd like to see that move towards the trail leg. Now, when we look at the data from sort of force plates and we look at the best players and the average numbers, we're looking at about 80% of that pressure is in the right side at its most extreme. Okay, and that's going to happen probably about halfway into this backswing. We're going to see about 80% of pressure through that right foot. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because it does not mean that we need to laterally move our mass, if you like, into that right leg. So what you will see from a lot of golfers is, and this is pretty standard, there's certainly a little bit more of maybe a more modern day golf swing over the last sort of few years, this has become a little bit more popular, you would see a setup where it would appear that there is a little bit more weight on the lead leg. Okay, so certainly with an iron club, you're probably going to see something a little bit like this, where the hips maybe look a little bit more towards the target. Now, if you were to slow this golf swing down, the head would stay perfectly still as I turn into my backswing. So for many golfers viewing that looks as if they start left, and it looks as if they stay left. Now, what they're looking at there is the mass. They're looking at where the body weight appears to be. If we can measure that golf swing, we would still see the pressure move towards this right side. And that's what we're trying to do in the golf swing. We're trying to move the pressure to the right and then move it back to the lead leg. So it's really important, because when I get a lot of golfers setting up this way and trying to feel like they keep their head a little bit more centered over the golf ball, when they make slow swings and rehearse it, we don't get the pressure change because it's at slow speed. So they'll often say to me things like, well, that feels very left-sided, or I feel like I'm reverse pivoting, or whatever they feel, but it's actually what we want to do. What we do not want to do is to start here and then feel as if we load that right leg by having to make a lateral move across, maybe the pelvis slides across, maybe the upper body moves, we get a little bit more over onto our right side, and then we struggle to achieve the sort of right conditions at impact. So it's really important that we understand what we're doing. Now, what we can simply do here is feel that as I make a backswing, I'm going to start maybe 55% left. That's what I'd like to see for most golfers that set it with a sort of iron. Start 55% left, and then make a backswing where the head stays nice and centered. What you will find is at higher speeds, we should get a pressure shift. But if you're going to video this yourself, or look at it on camera, it won't look like that. It won't look as if you're loading that trail leg. There won't be a visible sign that you're shifting your mass over that way, or your upper body's moved that way, or whatever it may be. There won't be a visual sign that this has happened. But when we can use these pressure plates, I was lucky enough to use Body Track for a couple of months over Christmas. We see these patterns. So I know my golf swing on Body Track, I got my pressure in my right side up to about 80% on average. Yet looking at it from a camera, I tend to start a little bit on my left side and appear to stay there. So what we see through the camera and what we actually measure are two very, very different things. So certainly in my golf swing, I feel like I'm loading that trail leg. But as I say, from the camera, it maybe doesn't look that way. So let's hit a shot and let's show you what we mean. So I'm going to take my starting position here, and I say I'm going to try and get about 55% of my weight into my lead leg. Okay, and I'm going to try and work on good solid turn, keep my head nice and centered over the ball, and we should see that I can hopefully achieve that. Okay, so that's a 6-iron I'm hitting there, so I'm going to hit another one. And I say I haven't got the body track here with me today, but when I was hitting those shots on the body track, the pressure was moving, I say, 80% into my right leg, and then at impact, it's about 80% through my lead leg. So I can assure you this is happening, but obviously you'll see what it looks like through the camera. So just do one more. Okay, so both those swings were the same sort of thing. I was trying to feel 55% weight left, and I was trying to feel I kept my head nice and centered as I make a backswing. What I'm doing is I'm loading the pressure through my right side. I'm simply not shifting the weight or my mass into my right side. So the term of move your weight into your trail leg is sometimes maybe a little bit confusing, because what does imply that we need to move our mass to our right side, when that's not actually the case. So hopefully that clears up a few of those issues. Might leave you in a better position to hit some better shots on the golf course, and maybe structure your practice a little bit better, and maybe work a little bit more on staying a bit more centered over the golf ball, because this will help your ability to strike it. It will help you to achieve a better impact position, and that's going to in turn give you better shots. So thanks for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Post any comments down below. I will try and do my best to respond to as many as I can. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. All these videos are free. They're going up each week. More content, as I say, each week. And hopefully you can help you play better golf and enjoy it a bit more. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.